On February 24th, 2022, the world cracked in half and was put upside down. My world and the world of many, many Russians. Russia began unthinkable. My country started the war against Ukraine. Russia began unthinkable for me, again, and for many, many Russians. My country became aggressor, and my people became invaders. Ever since the start of this tragedy, I have had many questions. Some of them are rhetorical questions. I already know the answers. Some are hard to answer, and some are so hard to even think about. Like, where do Ukrainian children disappear to? What happens? What do people go through that lost their loved ones? Questions like that. I think of these things, and they are so hard. My entire being inside, gets terrified, and it's painful just to think about these things. And they automatically get pushed somewhere away into the back of my head, and they stay there isolated. And I think this is how my mind tries to keep me sane. But you know what? These questions and thoughts, they don't disappear, okay? They're just isolated there, It's in the back of my head. It's the weight. I can feel the weight. I never forget about that. Those things I get scared and hurt just to think about, they happened. They happened. The damage is done, and it cannot be undone. So these questions, they will have to be addressed sooner or later by me and by the others, by all Russian people. I'm not alone with it, I'm in the company of the entire country. The last kind of questions is big and heavy and very important questions. Kind of questions that for Russia to get over this tragedy, what it's been causing in Ukraine, these kinds of questions must be addressed and answers must be given, and justice must prevail sooner or later. One of the most important questions right now for me is it Putin's war or Russians' war? And I will try to answer that right now. Howdy, my name is Konstantin, and welcome to Inside Russia, where I give you news updates on what I find important that explain what's really, really happening inside of Russia these days. What you will not find on this channel is propaganda, BS, and lies. What you will find on this channel is truth, common sense, and logic. I'm always honest with you and sincere. Sometimes I do make mistakes. Every time I realize, I go back and, I make this public. But I'm always honest and sincere. And you will find emotions on this channel because I'm a human being. Inside Russia is where Usual Russia Explained by the Unusual Russian. That is me. In live streams, daily live streams, I give messages for the first 30 minutes or so, and then I turn on the comments, invite everyone to follow and converse and ask questions and give me feedback. I would like you to do so today. I'd love that very much. So, is this Putin's war or Russians' war? First things first, who do I think I am to ask this huge cosmic scale question? Who am I to ask this? What do I know? Is it the question to me or to the guys upstairs in the Russian government, perhaps? They know better, right? Well, wrong. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I am qualified to speak on these issues. I was born and raised in the USSR quite a few years ago. First it was the USSR, then Russia. Finished high school as a straight A student with the highest academic honor that could be achieved in Russian schools. I'm educated in 2 countries, in Russia and in America. I am an economist by trade, and I've been in energy business and constructing energy facilities for pretty much most of my adult life. I am a multiple business owner in the past, and a son of wonderful parents, a husband to a fantastic lady, and a father of 5 outstanding, great, best in the world children. Over my adult life, I have done different ventures that have rewarded me with very different, colorful, and strong life experience. On top of that, I am a Russian voter, taxpayer, and citizen. And for the last 19 years, I witnessed and I participated in the creation of this political system in Russia that can be called the Hydra or the Hydra. So I am very qualified to ask this question and answer it. Is it Putin's war or Russians' war? I've heard many different opinions. There are actually 2 most common opinions are, one opinion is many people, especially in the West, think that this is just Putin's war. They say, we have nothing against Russian people. We understand this is not their war. This is one man's war. One man made the decision. One man's drive to take over Ukraine. One man's ego. One man's decision to, attack. It's one man's war. Another opinion, quite the contrary one, it's all Russians' war. All Russians are guilty. Well, let's start with the first question. The first opinion. Let's start with the first opinion. Let's pick it apart. Whoever thinks and whoever says that this is one man's war, this is Putin's war, just Putin's war and no one else's war, is mistaken. Plain and simple. Putin hates to take responsibility for actions. He involves a large amount of, his assistants, his employees, his government's people into the process of decision maker. He makes decisions. Don't make mistake about that. He is the top guy. He's the main guy. Putin makes decisions. But to cover himself up, he involves many other people. He makes them sign along, so to speak. The prime example of that is the extended Russian Security Council meeting on February 21st, 2022, right before the invasion of Ukraine. All top politicians, all Putin's most trusted friends, people who he relies on, he's been with for the past 20 years, and before that in St. Petersburg when he worked at the mayorate. They were summoned and made publicly state their position on Ukraine. And guess what? It was in public, it was televised. All except one, who's a native Ukrainian, supported the invasion. Putin made them responsible along with him. Wasn't my sole decision. I based it on what these people said. That's Putin basically, said by making this council meeting. This is exactly how Joseph Stalin behaved when he was murdering tens of millions of Soviet citizens. And this is exactly how mafia bosses work all over the world. Universal. Just judging by that meeting on February 24th, you cannot say it's Putin's war. All who supported, agreed, nodded, said yes, suggested that's their war, and it's on record. It's out there in public. Let's move on. February 24th, the war begins. The Ukrainians start getting killed by the Russians. No sisters and brothers anymore. Have you forgotten what happened in the days following February 24th? Well, if you have, then let me remind you. In the very first day of the invasion, many Russians, we all got into shock. Many Russians started openly resenting and stigmatizing country's actions, calling to stop and the Russian military to withdraw. Many Russians of all kinds of walk of life, famous, not so famous, rich, poor, they started standing up and making themselves heard, myself included. We used different kind of communication mediums, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Many of us went to the streets, you name it. But we were making ourselves heard. And the Russian government started striking back first. You can go and watch my streams from late February of last year. First, Rostov-on-Don and Attorney General Office came up with public statements reminding us Russian citizens to stop speaking against government's actions. Otherwise, we'd be held responsible. But guess what? There were no laws to hold us responsible. And very quickly, they, along with the Russian parliamentarians, the senators, the members of upper and lower houses of Russian parliament, they created the laws that shut many of us up. If you speak against the government, you automatically spread fakes and disinformation because only government knows what this is truth. If you say something that contradicts, automatically fakes, automatically disinformation. So you get up to 15 years in prison. How about that? Well, you all have heard of that law, and it's not news to you. Well, what it can be news to you is that just in the year 2022, over 20,000 people in Russia were charged. So, don't make no mistake about it. This also became Rospotrебnadzor, Attorney General's office, and Russian parliamentarians' war. Right then, when they supported and they started promoting. In the months following, all who worked for Russian government, big and small, started, who are getting paid by the government, including even school teachers and doctors, because they're government employees in Russia, they started getting forced to pick a side. Just like that. You must support and do it publicly. If you don't, hey, that's your choice. But the exit is right there. Good luck. That's pretty much how it sounded, and it still sounds. That's what happened to many hundreds of millions of people. Most supported. Some didn't. And a lot of those who didn't, they left. They left Russia. And guess what? I have been seeing a lot of them here in Tashkent. All kinds of people, school teachers, doctors, university professors, engineers, um, attorneys, you name it. There are thousands of people. Tashkent alone has around 40,000 people. They left. They did not, fall for that scam. They did not start supporting. But most stayed and most concurred. And so it became the war of government employees who openly supported. And then the propaganda people. Oh, don't even get me started. Those who have been engineering Russians' minds. All the government media. That is definitely their war. And of course, it's the war of Russian generals who know exactly what they're doing, what they have been doing, who they are bombing, and who they are killing. They know. It's their war. And there are volunteers. Believe it or not, some Russians, many Russian men volunteered to go and kill Ukrainians. What a shame. That gives us a great deal of Russian population, perhaps tens of millions of people. It's their war. They made their choice, and they made it very open and public. It's their war, not just Putin's war. Vladimir Putin is their icon. You make no mistake about that. They are responsible, along with that man. But then there's the rest who still remain in Russia. Is it their war? And that's majority, of course, because majority of people do not, they do not work for the government, and it's just the minority who have been openly supporting because they're forced to, or otherwise they'd lose their job and things like that. But the rest of people in Russia, the rest of Russians, is it their war? With them, I do not see it black and white. There are some people who are openly supporting the war of Russia that is waging on Ukraine. People like that definitely fall into the category of it's their war. I cannot tell how many people like that there are in Russia right now. There are some. What about the others who do not support? Well, the start of the war was a shock to many, many people. Many understood the tragedy and the horrendousness of this event. Dozens of thousands took it to the streets. They were very open, they were very loud, very brave, very forward. And you know what? They were crushed. They were crushed by the strong hammer of Russian government. I know. I was there. I witnessed. That was scary. To those, I say, to those who have been crushed, and many have been, they have suffered. Many have been beaten, arrested, fined, charged, convinced, forced out of the country, warned. To those, I'd say it's not their war. In my eyes, they are decent, they are honest, they are brave, and in my eyes, their hands are clean. And the rest? It's been 13 months. 13 months. It's been almost 400 days. 400 days. Yes, you know what? We all have been brainwashed in Russia. All have been misinformed. Lied to multiple times. Gosh, they lied to us hundreds of times every single day. We have all been intimidated by these new laws, by multiple messages, by examples of people getting thrown to jail for basically nothing. exercising their rights. This kind of intimidation the world has not seen before. They try to keep our heads down. They try to keep us low. They try to keep us at bay. And the force that they're trying to do so is absolutely tremendous. But you know what? We Russians, we all have heads and hearts and souls, and we still can think, and we still can feel, and we still can love and be empathetic, merciful. They can cloud our minds, but they can't touch our hearts and souls. We do that ourselves. The more time goes by and the more we stand silent, we go with the flow, the more we pretend that nothing is really happening extraordinary. The more of that goes by, this war becomes more of ours. The gray, remember, like I said, there's no black and white, there's always gray with the rest of these people, but the gray becomes darker day by day. I am not to judge that part of population of Russia who are not supporting openly, but they just staying low. They keeping silent. Okay, I'm not to judge them. I'm not a judge, but I can judge myself. It's really difficult to judge myself, but I'll do it anyway. This is my war. I stand up tall and make myself loud and clear every single day for the past 13 months. I stand against the war. This is my stand. This is my manifesto. But this is still my war. I am responsible. Vladimir Putin is Russian, born and raised in Russia. He's both simultaneously a product of Russian society and the creator of this system that has changed Russian society. And I personally, and I'm responsible for that, I allowed him to succeed at that. Almost for 2 decades I was watching. I should have known better, Did I do it on purpose? Did I do it intentionally? No, of course not. But you know what? That does not wash me off. Am I a victim? Are Russians victim? I heard that before, Nope. Ukrainians are. Their cities are getting razed. Their territories are getting annexed. There are people getting killed. There are millions of people have been affected, left their homes, and are refugees now. The country's economy is down the drain. The infrastructure gets bombed almost every single day by the Russian forces. They're the victims. Russia is also getting destroyed. Make no mistake about that. In a different way. But this is not victimhood. This is suicide. We are committing suicide. Well, our government is really, but we're just somehow keeping our heads low and down, and we're just witnessing it. And perhaps many not smart enough to understand that. You got to feel it, but I guess people choose to turn their heads into a wrong direction, to a different direction. It was not me who pressed the button on the 24th of February, but it was me, indirectly. I am responsible, and this is my war. I was not trying to break that system. I didn't do much to change it for the better, to make it straight. That system that fired on the 24th. And that makes it my war. The Ukrainians from Mariupol that I met recently, they come to the breakfast club here in Tashkent. They say, it's not you. You're not responsible. They've said it a couple times. But they can't convince me. They're saying it just because they're forgiving and loving. I really have hard time looking into their eyes. I feel shame every time I do that. Every time I look, I recall their city getting razed last June, May, July, and myself included, and many Russians in Rostov, in Taganrog, and all over the south of Russia and Krasnodar were just leading normal life. So I have shame every time I look into their eyes. Every day I try to do everything I can to fix it. I bring people together in real life, and it takes lots of efforts, but it's working. We have lots of people getting together and spending time, with each other. Russians and Ukrainians. Ukrainian part of the Breakfast Club is also has grown a good deal lately. I do YouTube every day, and I do some other things too. But every day I feel it's not enough, because this is my war. This is my war. And I think about how other Russians can live this feeling, if they have this feeling, and how they can pretend, and many people do, pretend that everything is, nothing extraordinary is happening, How can they live with that? I have hard time understanding. It's pretty clear that it's war of Putin. No questions about that. And those around him, his inner circle, and people in the government, and those who involved directly and indirectly, it's them. They're not even hiding it, okay? Whether it's the war of other Russians who do not support the aggression, but staying silent about that, staying low, do not stand up, do not do anything, pretending nothing extraordinary is happening. Whether it's their war or not, you judge for yourself. I am not the judge to them. I am the judge to me, Konstantin, myself. And this has been my message. I have nothing else to say today. Thank you very much for coming, for watching, for listening. Thank you for giving me a chance today again. Yeah, I'll dare to turn on the comments, see how it goes. Certainly not the easiest stream for me to make, but I'll take any opinions and any feedback and anything, whatever it is. Yeah, just try to put, if you want me to answer, try to put it in caps and put inside Russia after that sign, so it appears in a orange box, easier for me to spot. Hello, everyone. Sorry about the delay today. It was definitely technical difficulties, Beatus, thank you so much. Always good to see Maine. Edgecombe, Maine. Howdy. Remy Leon 5. Well, thank you from France. Howdy, I've never seen you before. A plus Russian, the stream we've been waiting for. Well, you got it. We might even make a video discussing it. Don't. Okay, do it. It's your right. It is 100% of our war, and we are 0% victims. Everything in between is our responsibility. Well, I tell you what, it's less your war than mine, because you did not live in Russia for the past 20 years. I did. Julia, thank you so much for support. Another honest shot today. Ain't easy to be Russian today. I wouldn't say it's not easy to be Russian today. It's not difficult in terms of, I still live. I still have a place to stay. My home has not been destroyed. But it's shameful. I met the enemy and he is us or US. I don't get it. Aspen English, thank you so much. Dave Strains, thank you. It was deep, yeah. You have no idea how much thought I have given this message. Not just for the stream, because this message was not, I didn't start thinking about it for the stream, but this is what I've been thinking for the past 13 months. And the opinions I keep hearing from other people, from Russians, sometimes they outrage me. Sometimes Russians say, well, we are the real victims. What the and then I look at this people who come from Mariupol, and guess what? They have 2 kids, teenage boy like 12, and younger son like 9, 8 or 9, and they both have gray hair. And after that, hearing like, oh, we are the victims from some Russians is like, are you insane? Yeah. White Lightning, thank you. When America fought Iraq by mistake over nukes Saddam Hussein didn't have, the error was very hard for the veterans to accept. That's heartbreaking. I remember that, but that's not my war. That's your war. I don't want to discuss that. I disagreed with what America did to Iraq back then in 2000, I believe it 2002, and I disagree with it now. But you know what? Who am I? I'm not American. That's your war. You have to deal with it. We have our hands full these days ourselves, I have no right to say anything to you after all. After all this. Howdy, Bruno. Um, Henrik, it'll come back. Konstantin, your country will come back to decency. I really hope so. The question is, what must be done? What do we have? What do I personally do on top of what I've already been doing? What does each one of us has to do? That's I don't have the answer for that. Tom's son, very interesting thought. I think a lot of middle class Russians, especially having owned businesses, benefited a lot in the last decades. Most interesting that was their standing after Georgia, after 2014, as long as they benefit. You're mistaken in one thing. Russian middle class right now is almost non-existent. It's been that part of the society that has been the victim, real victim, because the middle class is not only not needed to the Russian government, it's actually toxic because middle class people, like business owners, they have independence, they make money, they don't have to depend from the handouts from the government, they don't have to depend on the government at all. Their stand is just get out of our way, don't get into our business, stay out as far as you can. Second, they travel a lot. Third, they're not brave, they're just active, they're energetic, and they pay lots of taxes, and they ask questions. How do our taxes, how do they get spent? What do they go to? This kind of people, they are not needed. They are toxic. They possibly a source of the problem. So in the last 15 years, middle class has been squeezed out of Russia. You come to Tashkent, you come to Almaty, you come to Astana, you come to Tbilisi or Yerevan or other large cities, you will find a lot of middle class people there. Business owners, engineers, doctors, people like that. Okay? So in Russia, middle class is almost non-existent. Crusader Damien, howdy. For many of us in the West, it was Putin's war until September 21st. Then, with the mass exodus, it became all Russians' war. Only Russians can save Russia. It's the price of freedom paid in sacrifice. Paid for in sacrifice. Point taken. Thank you. Jasper Pudding Face, Janine, howdy. I can relate to the grief. My first grandson, James, passed away when he was 4 weeks old. Something I never want to happen to anyone else. Sorry to hear that. My condolences. Point taken. Thank you. SF Joe, much love. Thank you. Don't underestimate a conniving leader, slow bowling a frog. Russian society for 20 years with laws and fear. Russian society has always trusted government right to the plank's edge. You're right, partially. I can agree with that, but the thing is, what comes down at the very end is, do I, Konstantin, take responsibility off and place it onto someone else, like let's say government? Oh, you know what? They've been slowly bowling a frog for the 20 years. And I've been blind, deaf or whatever. Do I take responsibility off and get rid of it? Or actually, I accept the responsibility? You know what? In Russia, too many people, they don't accept it. And this is a huge problem because we can heal by accepting what get would say mistake. It's not a mistake, tragedy. The tragedy that we caused, okay? And then we're gonna start feeling responsible. And that's not happening with many people. Steve Barnes, thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Carson Larrymore, it's okay. I am ashamed of my country, who are not a signed member of the ICC, who made Putin a legit war criminal, especially when it comes to the children. Point taken. Thank you for the support very much. Laura, I basically agree with you, but I think that it was a process and people, they could not be aware of it. Well, still, us, we have souls, we have hearts, we not only can think, but we can feel, we can, have emotions about this whole situation. That had happened before, long before Ukraine. Laura wrote above. Yeah, I just saw what you wrote. Thank you. Citizen X, do you really think you could have done anything? I do not. You know what? I could have tried. I could have tried. I could have tried to be more active politically. I could have tried to be more energetic. I could have tried to do more what I did. That's what I could have done. Even if I was joined by many millions of Russians, things could have changed. Rudy, thank you so much. It's really good to see you. Thank you. Rocket Ronnie, thank you. Saw the message. Responsibility always stops with us. My people started the slave trade. It is a stain, and I must make amends every day. We are responsible for what is done in our name, and we must make it right. Please give me a recipe. What else do I do to make it right, to make it straight? Tough issue, good message, good comments. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. I appreciate you being part of this group. Kevin, Constantine, do you watch any USA news channels? If so, are there any of them trustworthy? This is my approach. I watch mainstream media, and sometimes I read New York Times. I have summary of articles delivered every morning to my mailbox. I do not read every morning, but I try. I watch the big channels like CNN and Fox News, and then there's a YouTube channel called Newsmax. I haven't seen it for quite a while, but it was in the past. And I get bits and pieces of information about everything. Well, first of all, my focus is on Russia, Russian politics, situation, what's going on in Russia right now, the war, etc. So I have little time left for the U.S. news, but sometimes I watch, and I try to take little bits and pieces, usually facts, because you see, American media, it does not lie about facts. They do fact checking quite well, but they try to influence. They take the facts and they form their own opinion, and they kind of they project it at a certain angle at you, and that's how they influence you. So I try to separate. I try to take the facts, and I try to get the same news from both channels if it's interesting, and I try to form an opinion in my head. That's what I do. Any of them trustworthy? They are all trustworthy for the facts that they present, because if they're caught red-handed, there's a scandal in the United States. In Russia, no one cares, but in the USA, it's still the case. So I look for the facts, and I separate them and extradite them, and form my own opinions. That's what the American news channels are trustworthy for. Citizen X, fair warning, Newsmax is far, far right. But the thing is, they still have the facts. Like, this thing happened. Okay, that's a fact. And then they give their own opinion. They don't influence much me with their opinion, if you know what I mean. So I use them just for fact checking and for things like that, for to get the dry facts. That's it. I don't care for what their reporters have to say. Riviere 1862, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Sofia, Finland is about to join NATO. Not sure about Sweden. Well, good for Finland. Way to go. Maus, the German. How is opinion of Russians to Hague arrest warrant? Regular people, I don't know. I think they're shocked. I spoke just a few. I think they're like, what? The media, of course, it exploded. Oh my God, how could they? We're gonna annihilate them, annihilate, right? Oh, they just arrest Putin. Oh, we're gonna do this and that. How can they? They crossed all the red lines. They just going so much about it, but I will make a separate video, not a stream, but a video day after tomorrow about Putin's this situation. We'll keep on tuning in. You will hear my opinion on that, and I'll give you the opinions, the facts of what is happening in the Russian society. Quite interesting, It, to my mind, it's a game changer. Crusader Damien, thank you again. You are the message and essential. You can't do this inside Russia. However, all able-bodied Russians must fight for the change, no matter what comes. That kind of continuation of what your message, what you gave. Thank you. Point taken. Yes. Lori, as I tell my students all the time, you do better when you know better. You cannot deny your part of the responsibility. Just do not try to take all the responsibility since you did not go to Ukraine and are working to help. You know, Lori, some things, what's this the right word? Some things out of harmony inside of me. Some things I understand with my head, but what's in my head doesn't get along much with what's in my heart. And this is just the case. In my head, I can say to myself, like, you know what, I've done quite a bit, and yes, that would be true. But my heart, it just doesn't take it. Keeps on bleeding. It keeps on like having this weight on it. You know what I mean? So my heart doesn't care how much I've done, what I've done. It bleeds, keeps on bleeding. Remy Leon 5. Thank you, Constantine. I don't know about other EU member states, but I really think that France should welcome Russian men who flee the mobilization by giving them Schengen visa. Unfortunately, France probably most likely will not give Schengen visas. I have French visa currently. It expires in April. The French had no problem giving me 5-year-long Schengen visa because I traveled to France so many times in the past. But now, most likely, I'll be out of luck. One of my relatives is trying to get a political asylum in France, and guess what? French are just crushing him. But that's the guy who stood against basically the army and the KGB saving one man's life, and his political asylum case is real, okay? But France, he says it's really easy to get it if you're, was in Ukraine front lines or killing Ukrainians, and all of a sudden you just defected and asking for political asylum. Oh, no problem then, But if you're like opposing the war and then you didn't do any atrocious things like that, then most likely you're gonna be out of luck. It just goes not just for France, for other European countries as well. Marv, thank you. This is the stream I've been waiting to hear from you. I know it's hard, very hard, but thank you. All my love to you and prayers to the Ukrainian families who have had their kids taken from them. You know what? I think I put myself into their place. I'm a parent. I have 5 kids. And I think of something like that happening to me, and I get so terrified, I stop thinking about that, but it's just this thought that really hurts me. A+, yes, that's precisely it. The stain of occupation and lives destroyed is not easily washed off by standing against it, but it's very least we, all Russians, can do. Caesars. You changed a lot in the past 13 months. You'd better believe it, yeah. Yes, I have. Yeah, it's been life-changing, Mouse the German. Yes, I have 5 kids. And they were with me 10 days ago. No, not 10. 8 days ago in the stream. I had a live stream last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but Saturday before that. All 5 of them were right here behind this table. So go and check it out. The super stream. Tracy, Fox News and Newsmax, Constantine, you're really out of touch. I'm very disappointed. Well, guess what, Tracy? I also watch Russian propaganda channels, but it doesn't mean that I fall for that stuff. So I'm really disappointed that you got disappointed. You have so little trust in me. Not trust, faith in me. Have some more, okay? I don't think that I translate Newsmax or Fox News opinions here. They're opinions that come from my head, my heart, okay, from the inside of me. But Fox News and Newsmax, they just help me get the facts, okay? They don't influence me much. Mets fan, Constantine, I hope you are okay and send in many prayers to you and for your family and have to keep your heads up, my friend. Thank you for being such a great part of the community. I appreciate your support, your message. Thank you. Lori, I will send a story in an email about how I deal with causing a student unintended harm. Wow, that's new. Thank you. Is there such a thing as dealing with this? It might not help, but it show I deal with hurt I caused. Well, I would really appreciate that. Thank you, Lori. David Christensen, thank you. Try it again. Well, I'll try it again and again and again and again and again. I've been trying it again for the past 400 days. Karen Allen, been subscribed since the first day but never commented. My strongest memory is of you saying that Russia will not invade. What could have you done? In hindsight, things would have been different. Well, I remember that too. I've said it many times, and I did streams. I made ridicule of people who were saying, "Oh, Russia would invade." February 16th. I still remember the date. Russia did not invade on February 16th. It invaded on February 24th. What could have you done? I'm more saying, well, days and weeks before the real invasion, I couldn't have done much. That's true. But what I could have done over the previous 15 years, I think I could have done a great deal more than I did. Elections, being politically active, support, teaching, opening Russians' eyes, things like that. Many things I could have done differently. Brianna B, I get my news from the Irish Times. That's pretty cool. Abe, every single stream I hear over and over and over again. Messages, do you have these messages in Russian? Do they reach Russians? No, they do not. One simple reason. There are hundreds of excellent messages, much better than mine, done by the professional reporters in Russian, by Russians, for the Russians, who reach Russians. I'm a small guy, I can't compete with excellent reporters, the professional ones, doing their job for the Russians. So no, I do not intend or have my message available in Russian for Russians. It would it would be simply useful. Okay, that's what I think. Russians still have plenty of information, truthful and available to them. The guy next door, in my personal experience, most Russians did not believe in invasion. Ukrainians, I know, also did not believe. Most people were surprised that it actually went that far. No one believed. No one believed in Russia. All Russians were shocked, except for, of course, Putin and perhaps like 10 people who knew. All shocked. I called my colleagues in Kharkov, and they were absolutely shocked. They said, we're being bombed. But just a couple days before, we had a regular work meeting, and we were discussing work, and we were kind of making joke about, like, oh, if Russians invade, like, would never invade, you know. And the Ukrainians, my colleagues from Kharkov, they were making this joke, and they certainly did not expect that. It's a suicide for Russia. I'm more of a saying not just days before war came. I'm saying I could have done so much more in the years before the war came. Jimmy Jam, what does the world do now? If you learn that answer, please let me know ASAP. Rachel Burkett, there is no doubt you have been a source of strength to those in Breakfast Club. Most likely I have been, yes. Who have sought help and kindness. Do not underestimate yourself and what you have done. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Andy Smith, if you ever get a chance, please do a broadcast for Russian expats to explain the straight gen. First of all, who are Russian expats and what is the straight gen? Pamela J. ABC, BBC, sometimes NBC. I miss Peter Jennings so much. ABC, too much tabloid lately. It's called World News Tonight, but where is the world news? Only after airplane crashed and fires used to be better. I watched, I think, CBS, The Canadian. It's pretty good. I know the reporters personally. They actually reached out and they interviewed me. These two big anchors. I enjoy their news. I think it's CBC or NBC. Anyway, I think it's CBC. BBC, definitely I watch fantastic stuff. You know, BBC is, I would say, the best media out there. ABC, I do not watch. White Lightning, do you like the WION news network? They're from India, but do highly quality coverage. I've never heard of them. WION. Should check them out. Thank you. Brian, go easy on yourself. How? Can you please give me an answer? Send me a pill. So I'll just take it and feel easy, easier. That'd be good. Brianna, Volgograd Municipal TV is claiming that the children brought there from Donetsk were war orphans, and the locals believe it's not to be true. Over 1,000 since the invasion began have been brought in. Brianna, this is so terrible. I mean, this really. I was exposed to this news to this issue a few weeks ago on one of these streams, and I've been kind of digging deeper, and I don't really like what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. This is one of the things that really hurts me. But I will put myself together and do either a stream or a video or something like that on this issue. Mikhail, G, how far are you in writing your first book about war and peace? 5 chapters. I'd say 1/3, perhaps. Not going fast. And I'm about halfway through the movie. I thought I would finish both by the end of the year, last year. Well, I guess not. Marv, regardless, Brianna, under international law, they have to be transferred to a third-party country. This isn't the majority of kids. Okay, thank you. The underdog says Barfly Sports Uzbekistan. Well, you misspelled Uzbekistan. You know, it's spelled differently. I'm not sure what Barfly Sports is. All right, my friends, you know what? I gotta wrap it up. The guy next door. This is what I have heard as well, but, we'll see what happens. Chris K. Casting, when we know how to stop screwed up people from manipulating the masses, then we might stop such situations. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate you coming and giving me a chance. Thank you for listening to me. It really means a lot, and thanks for sending good words. Sending support. That's really good. Much appreciated these days. But the words and prayers, they're absolutely priceless. I invite everyone to pray with me. Want to pray a little different today. Judith Morrow, Moody, thank you so much. Thank you. Let's do it. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this day. Thank you for putting the food on our tables. Thank you for putting roofs over our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with the people who we love and who love us. Please help our children, keep them healthy and safe, and give us wisdom to keep the skies above their heads peaceful, and raise them the way that when they become adults and they grow up, they will make this world a better place. Dear God, please help stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. The country has suffered so much already. It just needs this to stop. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls and heads and eyes and brains of people who are responsible. Be nice and gentle when needed. Be very tough and rough when needed. Deal with them in the way you know how to deal. But please make them stop this bloodshed. Please help everyone who has been affected in Ukraine. Please send the angels of people to people so angels keep everyone away from harm's way. Not every single drop of blood is shed anymore. Please help my country, Russia. Help. Please send help soon. The army of your strongest angels with sharpest swords who will come down, led by Saint Michael, and will right the wrong, fix things, and give everyone what they deserve. Please have angels run my country in the future. I would like to ask you to help all the people in Ukraine who have been affected, who have been misplaced and forced to leave country, to go to other places, seek refuge. I am asking you to help those who are hurting right now. Please send them recovery. I'm asking you to help those who are confused, who are devastated, who are depressed, who are crying. Please send your love, send your light to those people, at least so they feel better. Help those who are sitting in Ukraine without electricity and without heat, without water. Please send help the way they need. That kind of help that they need this help to be sent. Please help all the people in the hospitals that are without electricity supply right now. So all the surgeries get performed and all patients receive medications and needed medical help. Please help all the children and their parents who are at risk of being bombed, being killed, getting killed, who are cold and hungry right now. Please send your help, send your angels to protect these families, parents and their children. God bless those who are helping Ukrainians right now, all over the world, opening their hearts, wallets, homes, just praying for them, sending them good wishes, doing something that is helping Ukrainians. Thank you so much. Please help those people from Ukraine who are seeking for refuge. Provide refuge. Provide help. Send them good people their way. Please help those who are hurting because they lost their loved ones. Soothe their souls and show them you love. Show them that you care for them. Show them, give them forgiveness, and just ease their pain, please. Please help those who have lost all physical possessions, belongings, their houses, their apartments, everything they had before. Please send them your blessings and help so these people will recover everything that they have lost. I would like to ask for the hungry, the homeless, the depressed ones, the sick ones, those who have very low self-esteem and hurting because of that, those who are depressed, those who are jobless, please help them. Every single person in a position like that. Please send them your love and shine your light upon them so they feel better. Thank you. I would like to ask for all pregnant women all over the world who are deciding whether to keep their babies or not, reach out and talk to them so they make the right choice. And dear God, I would like to ask you for all people who are on my prayer list. I will not name their names individually, but you know their names better than I do. You can spell and say their names better than I do. And you know what they need and they ask and they pray for better than I do. Please help every single person on my list, both children and adults. Answer their prayers and make their wishes come true, please. Please send everyone good health, happiness, love, forgiveness, empathy. Just give into all people's lives a little more love and your God's light. Thank you so very much, dear God. Amen. My friends, thank you for praying with me. Thanks for listening, watching. There will be another message tomorrow, and please come back the usual time. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon LA, and 7 London. I'll see you tomorrow. You're awesome, and you rock. And before I go, Carthago delenda est.